Well, I'd say one thing is the intensity of the issues that are provided. I like being in a show that deals with very sensitive issues and explores them in what I think was a surprisingly objective way for this type of a show. So, very serious issues, and working with Barbara Gallo, who was a friend of mine for a long time.
Okay, I like working with Mike. We've known each other for years, and this is the first time we've really had a lot of on stage time together. I like this play because I've seen it. I saw it back with the original Actors Theater of Louisville cast many years ago, and was very impressed by it, especially by the fact that it does not take obvious sides, which you would expect for something with such a loaded issue, that it would either be pro or anti, and you can't tell which it is. It flips. So it's very human. And I think that is the thing of the play, is you can take out all of the political, you can take out the issue. It comes down really, I think, to a relationship, almost the mother-daughter relationship between Keely and Dew.
When I first discovered this play, I was actually still in college, and I wondered, when was this written? This seems like a very important issue that we're still tackling today, whether it be in political campaigns, in social justice campaigns, or even at awkward Thanksgiving family dinners, which is a true story. It was written over 2 decades ago, and this issue is still so prevalent today that you can time jump it. You can set it in the 90s, you can set it in the early 2000s, you can set it right now, and it's still just as relevant as it was when it was first written. And it is one of those issues where you pick a side, no matter what side you pick, you're screwed. It's something that no matter what side you pick, someone's always going to object against you. There is no right, there is no wrong, there is only gray. And I really enjoyed the fact that this show acknowledged the fact that it was gray, and much less is it about the choices that we don't want to make, but the choices that we have to make. And we hope we never do, but what would happen? And here's Victor. Also, I didn't know anybody in this cast, since everyone's talking about it. I knew who Victor was, but I didn't know who these people were.
If she had, she wouldn't have joined.
Yeah, no, I would be gone. I'd be gone. They're they're awesome. But yes,
You're glad?
that's why they handcuffed me. It's great.
We wouldn't let her leave.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me leave, and I didn't want to, because we formed a bond of family. Yes. And on to Victor.
I actually was here when the show was pitched, and the way Kristen was talking about it, she made it out to seem like, well, not to seem, she was correct in saying that this show is, one, crucial to what's going on in our society today, but that it does not take a stance one way or another, and it shows this issue from all angles. It allows the people who you might be against the stage time and the writing to allow themselves to be expressed, and you do end up kind of sympathizing and understanding them, regardless of how horrific their actions might seem to you from your standpoint. And at the end of the day, for me, this show is about belief, and be that religious belief or just like the way that you think that life unravels, it's about standing by that belief or looking at it and analyzing it and deciding if you're going to change that belief based on what's going on around you and your experiences and all of that. And every character in this show takes their belief and nails that sucker to the wall, then they just roll with it, and then you see exactly what happens with these intense feelings and guiding morals, I guess.
I've done a little of everything: comic, drama, modern, classical. Very often I do very broad comedy, which I'm good at, and I know I was getting a little hungry for something a little meatier and juicier. Ooh. But yes, that's when I met Kat.
Oh, yes.
But I really like the idea of a character that was deeper, less. A lot of comic characters do have depth, but especially in the broader comedy, farce, for example, Noises Off, they're, if not quite caricatures, they're very close to the surface. These characters are not. They're contradictory. They're confusing. They will contradict what they say from one sentence to another, just like in real life. And I found that really fascinating to explore. And also finding the humor, because you've got to always find humor or you have,
Or you have
melodrama.
the DC cinematic universe.
Yeah, which is, just heavy and dull, because real life has humor, even in grim circumstances.
Oh, is it? Oh God, okay. Ah, I'll do this one, okay. I've actually only been in comedies up until this point. I was in like a drama in college where I was on stage for like 3 minutes, so we disregard that. But up until now, if I had more than 3 minutes of stage time, it was a comedy, or it was a musical, which was normally also kind of funny. So when Kristen, our director, cast me in this part, I was like, "Are you sure? Huh? What do you mean there's no lines that I get to be funny in this show?" I guess, and it's been kind of a whirlwind for me, actually discovering to be a dramatic actress instead of just like, I'm gonna slap my knee and skitter across the stage, maybe trip over something, because that makes people laugh. I can't do that here, because if there's certain scenes that if I make someone laugh, it's so ill-timed and it just becomes offensive, and not the type of edgy offensive that comedians are trying to do today. It's just offensive.
She did want to skitter across the stage, so we changed her to the bed.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why we do this. But it's been kind of a whirlwind for me. I cry a lot. I am absolutely emotionally, physically exhausted by the end of every single show, which is something that I've never experienced. Getting out of a comedy or a musical, I'm just like, hey, everyone, let's go to the diner, or let's go see a movie. I'm so happy to be here. After this, I'm like, I just want to go home. I want to go home and I want to eat, and I don't want anyone to talk to me. But it's been an experience, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Who wants to talk now? Please take this from me. Here you go.
Yeah, no, I would also say that you get two different, as an actor, you can get two different senses of satisfaction from either comedies or dramas. With comedy, you're getting, hopefully if you're doing it right and the play is good, you're getting reactions from the audience fairly consistently. But as Barb said, you're looking for the laugh. You're trying to get the laugh. That's ultimately the thing. And your character rather can be much, much closer to the surface, and you don't find nuance in the character. But in a show like this, you can find something different in the character all the time, and it's easier to notice because it's not comedy. It's easier in a way to notice when the audience is reacting subtly and differently to you in a drama. You find different things about your character and other characters that you don't get to explore in comedy. And for me, one of the things that I'm really enjoying with this is when I'm doing a scene with Barb or Victor or Kat, and I'm looking at the expressions on their faces, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, they are so credible and so believable to me that just the depth of emotion that I'm seeing in all of these characters, it's amazing to work with. That's something that you don't typically get in comedy. So this is a much different, equally great kind of experience.
I'm not a big fan of, it's not that I dislike comedy, I hate these, but I don't really get the same satisfaction as a lot of people when I hear the laugh, because I'm like, okay, funny is funny, but when I know that I'm on stage and there are people that want to move and they can't, that gives me a different kind of satisfaction. When I know that someone is connecting on a level that they didn't realize they were going to connect on, that means something to me. If someone comes up after and they're like, I don't know why, but this really moved me, I feel like I did something important in that person's life, even if it's, just a random Friday night for them. They're going to go home and they're going to be like, okay, something is gone, something's off my shoulders, and that's why I act, so that I can get that off of my shoulders and so that I can help somebody else feel something. I really, truly believe that if you step into a theater and you're here to see a drama, you're here to enter a world that you were afraid to have in your own everyday life. And this is this is therapeutic for the actors a lot of the time, and for the people watching it, I hope that it's cathartic. If it's not,
We're sorry.
yeah, sorry. Maybe get your money back. But yeah, yeah, definitely not.
Don't say
No,
that.
no, no, no.
No,
Yeah.
help us, we're poor.
Yes.
Kristen's brilliant casting.
Huh? Oh, I know, at least with me, it took a while. I definitely don't perform even remotely the same as I do now as I did with my first reading. And I will say a lot of the rehearsals that we had to go through consisted of a lot of notes at the end of rehearsals being along the lines of, Kat, this isn't a place to make people laugh. Stop doing this. It's not funny. Stop doing that. People are going to laugh. You can't make them laugh. And I'm like, but why? If I don't hear laughter in the audience, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. So it's been a whirlwind for me trying to understand, hey, if you don't hear people laugh, that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means this isn't a place for laughter. And it's been hard for me, but bouncing off of these guys has been just so easy from the get-go. Like, they're amazing, and they, like, each one of them has kind of guided me or pushed me in one way or another to help me develop this character in the end. And we're on our fourth show at this point? Our fourth show, yeah. And I still feel like I'm changing every single night. Mm-hmm. It's never the same for me, and I thank all of you guys for helping me and giving me that kick in the ass that I need sometimes.
I think we're all a little different every night. I mean, there seems to be, it seems to depend on what we're getting from the audience and from each other and whatever happens, but the dynamic, while essentially the same, overarching for the characters, the nuance changes a little with each scene. Sometimes the connections are a little different.
Plus, I forget a different line every night, so it gives them an opportunity to change what they're doing.
Yeah.
Keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody in this show or in this production that doesn't bring something like huge to the table. I mean, everybody that's on stage has like a massive stage presence, and a lot of the time that sounds like a challenge for an actor to kind of like get out and take center stage, but it creates this synergy of just moving energy, of combative and participatory kind of engagement that you don't really see all the time, but when you do get to see it, it feels so real. It is a back and forth, and you're bouncing energies off of each other like you do in real life. It's being heard and hearing another person on stage, and it's immersive in that sense, and I think that's amazing.
I think one of the interesting things, I don't want to give a big reveal to anyone who hasn't seen the show, but one of the things that's interesting to me is, as you might expect, the two really polar opposite sides of this issue are facing each other in this play. And at the beginning, they're clearly polar opposites. The interplay between Keely and Dew reveals that they are definitely at completely opposite ends of the spectrum. And part of the show is how they're starting to move a little bit toward the center. And again, without revealing anything, at the very end of the play, we can see how far apart everybody still really is. And it puts me in the moment of today when we're thinking about build the wall, don't build the wall, shut down the government, don't shut down the government.
You mean my tax returns?
Yeah, well, so the point is, there are two sides that just seem like they're never going to be able to come together because they're so fixed in their ways. And so part of this for me is looking at that and seeing this is yet another issue where you really wonder whether people will ever be able to come together completely, and maybe they won't.
I think he summed it nicely.
Yeah.
I walked into this play having one very specific belief, and whereas I still 100% hold to that belief, I kind of understand a little bit more where the other side's coming from. Like, I don't think that other beliefs come from this place of negativity and bigotry that I may have originally thought. That's not to say that all of them don't, but everyone is not the same. Like, you can even look at just me and Barb as people, we obviously look very, very different. We're from two very different times, and it's, at the end of the show, I kind of think, well, the put together, composed woman is the dysfunctional, tattooed and pierced girl. The dysfunctional, tattooed and pierced girl is the bold, the mature woman who has herself together and is very firm in her beliefs. We're not that different. And it's kind of it's a clash of beliefs, it's a clash of generations. It's just two sides butting at each other, but they're not, in the end, we all want the same thing. It's an ultimate goal. It's, we want freedom, but freedom for who? Yes. I hate talking on camera.
You guys are really good at it.
Thank you. I'm struggling.